Hello, this is part 2, Alex,
Yeah.
of the Contact Front review. So this was a game we played. We kept it fairly straightforward, so we didn't use any of the support options in the rules, and we just made like a generic scenario up. There are full rules for sort of pick-up games,
Yeah.
as well as some historical scenarios in the Afghanistan supplement. So what we've done, we've used the same method that we've used in the recent after-action reports. So we've just basically filmed the whole lot. There might be some little pauses while we discuss things, and that's where we are. So we'll I think it's probably easier just to cut to that now.
Yeah.
After you've watched the game, we'll pop back and we'll do a debrief of what we thought, where we might have went wrong, and where we've what the good points are, and what anything that we had issues with. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
good.
So enjoy the game. Right. So this is a general view of the table, looking from the compound that the British platoon are trying to get to. We've just done a random layout with the various pieces of terrain. Right, this is just a close-up of the compound. You can see the Afghan flag there. This is the old Britannia 20mm resin compound. That's obviously I think it's Grubby Tanks who do it now. Actually got this one off the original owner, Britannia, way back in the day. It's got to be a good age. Right, so here we've got an overview of the table. The British, which Alex is playing, we'll have a quick look at them. He's got, we've kept it fairly straightforward, so he's got a platoon headquarters, 5-man platoon headquarters, which you can see in the middle, and he's got one section forward, one section back. A section's basically composed of obviously the two fire teams, two 4-man fire teams. We didn't bother rolling for the supports, primarily just to basically keep it simple. So we've just used the bog standard Orbats out of the rule systems. So that's the British objective. They've come onto the table here. They've got to get back to the patrol base, which is across the table. That's the patrol base there, obviously flying the Afghan flag. So I've no doubt there'll be a section of Afghan National Police or something inside, obviously doing whatever they're doing. So I'm playing the Taliban, and basically the organisation for that is a 2-man command element, which are on the roof of this compound here. There's 3 sort of 4-man fire teams, so there's one group there. Another group next to the fence in this little field. The 3rd one is on this large compound over here, up on the roof. They have an RPK team, 2-man RPK team down here, and a 2-man RPG team in this maze field here. Obviously, I'll be trying to obstruct Alex from getting back to the compound. So what we'll do now, we'll kick off with turn 1 and see how we're going. Right, so this is turn 1. First time we've played the system. We're both really looking forward to it, Alex, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Be good.
Right, so you've got the initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do first off is you're going to basically decide how many actions yet. Well, the sequence as it plays, there's a rally phase. Obviously, the first turn, no one needs rallying. The thing to remember about the rally phase is that you can use any character with a leadership ability to unpin a unit. Pinned units can't do anything in this system. So it's obviously quite important if you've got a lot of pinned units to get them unpinned. The only thing to be aware of, you use one officer to unpin up any figure rather with a leadership special rule to unpin a unit. But if you do that, that figure can't be used for your activation rule to see how many action points you get.
Yeah, makes sense.
You've got to bear that in mind. So that's not going to probably come into it, well, it won't come into it the first turn. Then what we're looking at is the casualty phase, when you're looking at rules for wounded figures. Obviously that doesn't apply, so we're going to move over to the meat and potatoes, which is the activation phase. So what you're going to do now, you've had a look at your bet, so you've got 3 characters with the leadership ability, yeah?
Yes, I have.
So you're going to add 3 to a d6 dice roll, and that tells you how many action points you've got.
Yeah. Right, I've got 3.
So you add 3 to it, so you've got a total of 6. So you've got 6 activation points. You've only got 5 units, so effectively you can activate all your units. Now, when you activate the units, you've got a number of options: move, fire, take cover, and we'll just take our time and go through it. Movement-wise, when you activate your unit, you can you get 2 orders. So you could do 2 movement orders, or however you want to do it, or 1 movement order and a fire. You could fire and then do a movement order. It's basically up to you. The other option that you have, you can, if you wanted to, activate a whole section. Obviously, the advantages of that are that you're activating them all at the same time. The disadvantage is that you're effectively, your whole section's only got 2 orders. If you activate the fire teams individually, each fire team's going to have 2 orders. However, you're going to use 2 activation points to do that. As it stands at the moment in your position with what you've rolled, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So you can decide whichever way you decide to do it. Yeah. So what you're gonna do?
Well, the first group at the front. So there's 2 fire teams at the front. Yeah. I'm gonna activate them both as a section.
Right.
And they're gonna move up.
Right. So you've got 2 orders, so you're going to move twice?
I'm going to move twice.
Right.
I'm move twice. So a move is 5 inches.
Yeah.
So this figure will get me to there.
Right. Now that if you're going into the mayor's field, are you going to do that?
Yes, which I'm going to do.
That's classed as tough going, I think the rules call it, or rough terrain. What you do there, you're going to roll a d3, so just roll a d6 and half the score, and you're going to take that off your 5 inches. So you're over 1, which stays as a 1. So basically you're going to move 4 inches into the mayor's field.
Yeah. Which will get me to there.
And what we'll do, we'll use our normal markers to signify things. So I've got a activated marker. Don't worry, I don't think the figures are going to stand up in that mayor's field. So effectively there, you've only used 1 activation point. So,
well, is that 2? Because moved 1 to there.
Yeah, no, it's 1 activation point, and with each, because you've activated as a whole, they get 2 orders.
Right.
So you've only used 1 point. If you'd moved the fire teams individually, you could effectively had 2 orders with both of them.
Right.
And that would have cost you 2 action points.
Right.
I think I'm using the right terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So so they're done. So you can now move on to your next unit.
Yeah. So I'm going to activate the MHQ team, and they're basically going to move up. So again, 5 will get me to there. I won't go the full 5, I'll just go
up to the other side of the ditch. So you're in the cover, right.
Of the ditch, which gets me to there. Yep.
Right, you want an activation thing on him?
Activation thing on him. Then the last the 2 fire teams at the back, I'm going to again activate them both as a section, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to move up. 5 will get me to there. Another 5, so they're in there.
They're in the ditch.
They're in the ditch.
Right. So
and that's
a little activation counter
all
on him.
of mine done.
Right. So it would now pass over to me. Again, I'll do the rally phase. That doesn't apply. Casualty phase doesn't apply. Go on activation phase. Right, so now I've only got 1 leadership, so all I'm adding is 1 to a d6 dice roll. So I've rolled a 3, which means I've got 4 orders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate this little fire team here, this group of fighters here. I'm going to put them on watch and shoot. So there's a marker on them, so that's 1 point, so that puts us down to 3. Right, so if it's more than 15 inches, it costs us 2 points. That's definitely more than 15 inches, isn't it, to get to them? Can't even get them. Right, and I'm going to activate these guys, put them on watch and shoot as well. Right. So they're activated. They're also on watch and shoot.
Yep.
Need an activation marker for those up on the roof. So they're activated, and that's all I'm going to do.
Right.
Okay. So that's the end of turn 1.
Yeah.
So what we've got, Alex, is you've got the front section sort of halfway through the maze field there.
Yeah.
You've got your command team in against the maze field, and then your second section is in the irrigation ditch at the corner of the field. I've activated these guys, put them on watch and shoot. Likewise with the RPK team there, everyone else isn't doing anything. So that is the end of, that's how we stand at the end of turn 1. Right, so it's the start of turn 2. Beginning of the turn, we've got to roll for initiative. You roll a d6 and you remove, for every pinned unit you have, you take 1 off your score. Highest score wins initiative. No one's got any pinned units, so it's obviously a straight roll. So I've rolled a 6.
3.
Right, so that means the Taliban have got initiative.
Great.
Good. So, rally phase. There's no units pinned or anything like that, so there isn't a rally phase. Casualty phase, we haven't got any casualties yet, there isn't any of that. So we'll go to my activation phase. So what I do is I roll a d6, and I've got 1 leader on the table, so I'm a d6 plus 1. 3. So I've got 4 activation points.
Yep.
Right. Right. What I'm going to do is he's over 15. So I'm going to put these guys on Overwatch, the RPG team. Okay?
Yep.
That's going to cost us 2 activation points. That's over 15. And I'm going to put them on Overwatch as well. And that's my turn done. Put them on there so they're on Overwatch as well.
And they've gone, yeah.
And they've gone, yeah. So they've all been activated. That is a great deal. Right, so it's over to you. So what you do is you roll your d6.
Yeah.
And then you're going to add 3 to it, 8.
5.
So again, you've got masses. You can do basically whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So
whatever you want.
Plan is to move across the field there. So
Maze field,
the first lot they're
So
going to
you're
move.
going to move as a section, are
They're
you?
going to move as a section, yeah, like
Right.
they did before.
Okay. So you've got to roll a d6, half it.
1.
Right, so that's 1, so you can move 4 inches. The movement's 5, Alex, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can move 4 inches through the field.
Yeah.
That's going to get you to the edge. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're going to be
so
at the edge.
from there,
So
the
if you
edge.
wanted to, I could interrupt at that point. Right, so I'm going to interrupt
Yeah.
with this fire team here.
Yeah.
So they come off Overwatch. And I'll just get 1 roll. So I'm obviously going to engage these guys here.
Yeah.
So I've got 4 with AKs. They're going to do section fire. They're not They're going to do individual fire rather. They're not doing
Right.
they're not doing section fire. So looking at the an assault rifle's 1, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm wanting 4 dice. we'll take our time when we're going through the through the firing. So I'm declaring the firing unit and its target, which, as we've already said, these guys are going to shoot over there like that at this target here. Okay. Right, so we're checking line of sight, the target's within range. So I've got my 4 dice, and there's some modifiers. Is there some modifiers to move? The target moved twice. Well, you haven't, you've only moved once, haven't you? It isn't obscured. Now, I'm untrained, so I'll lose 1 off my dice. Untrained, no, I don't. That's untrained unit firing only has wounded figures left alive. That doesn't apply. It's not point blank range because it's more than 6 inches. Not an assault order. So what we're basically looking at, I roll untrained, which I think is a D8. It is, so I need some D8s. Get a D8 out there. I need 4 D8s, Alex. So I've got 4 D8s. What I'm looking for is basically higher the better. Ooh, right. I've got an 8, 2 7s and a 3. That's quite good. Right, so what that means is the 3 is a miss, so I can get rid of that.
Yeah.
2 7s are hit. The 8 is a clean hit. Okay, so that means I get +1 on the injury roll. So what we'll do, going back to the thing, this one here gets a +1 to the injury roll, and then you're going to do your cover saves. So I've rolled a 5. So that is a KIA. Okay. So that's a 5, which is a KIA.
Yeah.
Now the other 2. Oh, 2 7s. Why is that on fire? Yeah. I should have actually. That's wrong. I should have rolled a D6. Sorry for the injuries. It's just the.
Right.
Right. So I roll a D6 doing on the injury chart. Yes. So that's my right. So get +1 on the injury chart. So this is for the clean one. So he's a 2.
Yeah.
Right, so that basically is 4 wounded, 4 wounds, okay? Right. Now you've got a save to do. Right, you're going to save, let's see, cover the plate control the target was 1 dice for each KIA and injury rolled and compares it to the cover chart below. So what we've got here is you've got need to do 4 dice. You're in a maze field, which I think, so it's natural, so you're going to save on a 5+, so you need to roll 5 or a 6 to save.
Because I'm through the body armour as well.
I don't know about body armour. I think we're thinking of other rules. It's never mentioned.
I'm just asking because that's what they would have.
The other one does. I can't remember reading anything in relation to body armour. I'm sure there might be something on. I tell you, -1 modifier when roll on the casualty chart. So this is you're doing your cover saves, and we'll roll on the casualty chart later after that.
Yeah.
So if you do that, so you're looking for 5s or 6s. None. Right. So that's 4 to roll on the casualty chart. You're on a -1, aren't you? A body armor, I think we said. Let's check that. Yeah. Right. So you need to roll those 4 dice again and take 1 off them. Oh Jesus Christ, Alex! God Almighty. Right. That is horrendous. So you've got a 5, which is a critical wound, and 3 severe wounds. Right. So you didn't want to.
Let's do that.
Right. So whenever a unit suffers any number of casualties resulting from individual fire, you must determine how severe the injuries they are. So we've done that. Having determined what type of injuries are inflicted, we now need to assign them to the unit.
Assigning casualties is always done in relation to the firing unit, the point of impact for HE, or the source of any explosive, meaning that the models closest to the enemy or explosion will become casualties first. So after it's been determined what type of casualties are caused, assign these to models in the unit starting with the model closest. Work your way outwards. Worst results first. Right.
So you've got 1 T1 and 3 T2s. So if you pass your sheet over there on your board.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got this guy here who's 1B3. He's T1. And then 1B4 is T2. 1B2. 1B1. And they're all T2. Right, so what that means,
during the casualty phase, the player must make a stabilisation roll for each wounded figure. Obviously, that's going to be next turn because we've already done the casualty phase this turn, so you're lucky in that respect.
So that's him done.
Yeah.
So he's still got an activation. So they are all wounded, they're not killed.
Now, can figures that are wounded open fire? Each casualty reduces the unit's firepower by 1. Any two for each casualty.
So basically that fire team cannot fire now,
Right.
which is obvious, which is fairly obvious. However, you could open fire with that other fire team.
I've moved them both as a section. Does that matter?
No, that
Right,
doesn't matter because you've moved them as a section. So they, so you've got basically effectively four unwounded figures, and you've got another. You can issue another order, so you could open fire on them.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
That's what you're going to do, right? So, and are you going to do section fire? Are you going to do individual fire, which is what I've just done there, or the section fires when you're trying to pin a unit?
They would, I think, they would do it in individual
I think
fire.
you're probably right. Okay. Basically, going to be the same. So you're declaring, you're firing at this group here.
Yeah.
So looking at your dice, you're rolling with, it's within range. So you've got a minimi which is 3, and then 3 other guys, which is, so you're on 6 dice, 6 D6s. Right, so the modifiers, there isn't any. So D6s, you're looking, again, as high as you can.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's bloody weird, isn't it?
I know. Oh, weird.
Right, so 1 to 3's a miss, so you can get rid of them.
Right. 4, 5, 6.
Right, 4 and 5's are hit. 6 is a clean hit, which means you've add +1 to the injury roll.
Yeah.
The only problem you've got is because I'm on the compound, I get it quite a high.
Yeah.
Cover save. Right, so when do you do the cover save?
I'll roll 3 D6s.
Me cover save because it's reinforced, I think. So it's mud walled compounds reinforced. So I'm going to save on a 3 or more.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've saved 2, and so there's 1 got through.
Yeah.
Okay. So we probably should have done that a different way. I'll tell you what you can do. You can have the 6 as the one that got through. So with that one, you're going to roll an injury on the injury table. And you get a +1. So roll 1 dice, add 1 to it. 6. So that's going to be a KIA, I would have thought. Yes, that's a KIA. So looking at that way, it's going to be this guy here. He's the nearest. So he's KIA. So what we've got there, right, so untrained forces. Do not use triage. Stabilize if the roll has failed, the model will be getting right. Leave their dead behind. Their firepower is not reduced by individual wounded figures, only KIA of the entire wounded unit. Right, so here's just deed. Right. And that's that. So you want an activation marker on them?
Yep, I've put it on before.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're going to activate next?
I'll activate the HQ unit, so they're going to move in the middle of the field, trying to get close to them as much as possible.
Right. So they're at the thing. So and are they going to move twice?
Yeah.
We'll do the first move first. So you roll a d6.
5.
Right. So that's 3 off. So they can move 2 inches.
Gets me to there.
And then you can decide what you're going to do. Whether you're going to try moving again.
They're going to try. He's going to try it again.
All right.
3.
Right, so that 3 is 2 off. So you've got 5, so you can move another 3 inches.
Which gets me to there. So they're all...
Right, and you want an activated marker on them. And then you can activate the next guys. Remember, you can break the fire teams up if you want to.
Yeah.
Because you could move along that irrigation ditch and open fire on them.
That's what I'm thinking. So this section, they're going to move around.
That fire team. Or the whole section. Oh, you can do the whole section if you wanted to, Alex.
The whole section is going to move around.
And then open fire on them.
To then open fire on them. Easy. So then that's the first guy.
So they're obviously moving about and getting in positions where they can open fire.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so if you fire as a section, which you're obviously going to, you've got 2 minimies, which are 6, and then you've got 6. So you want 12 dice in total.
Yeah. Well, I'll roll 6 dice twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, what am I looking for?
Right, so you basically 1 to 3 is a miss.
Right, so I've got 2 hits so far.
Well, have you got any 6s?
No, I've got 2 5s.
2 5s, right, so they're 2 hits. So put them to one side and then roll another 6. So you're basically looking at 4 5
6s.
And 6s are special cases.
Right,
so you've
well,
got
I've
2
got
6s,
2 6s,
2 5s.
So in total, I've got 2 6s, 4 5s, 1 4.
Right. So what I'll do, we'll do the 2 6s. I'll try and save them, so I'm looking for 3s.
Yeah.
I've saved both the 6s.
Right.
So get rid of them. And then I want 5 dice for the others, which are obviously classed as wounds. I've saved 4, and one of them's got through.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wound. So that's this guy here, who is AQ6, has been wounded. It was always a 4, right? So he's wounded. So have you got a little blood marker, Alex?
I'm only thinking if you get 2 on one figure.
To him,
if
you get,
gone.
And his stabilizer, right? So that's all your thingies activated.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the end of turn 2. So what we've got is you've moved through the maze field.
Yeah.
Obviously, my guys hadn't opened fire, so you weren't aware. When they've got to the edge of the maze field, this 4-man group of Taliban have opened fire and they've caused quite a bit of damage. They've wounded 4 of the guys in the section, so they've effectively wounded a whole fire team.
You've got 1 B3 who's a T1.
So that's a critical wound, and the others are severe wounds, aren't they?
The others are, and you've got 3 T2s.
Right. So, you've then, after that open fire with that fire team, you've killed 1 guy, you've moved the platoon headquarters up through the maze, and this rear section you've moved round around the irrigation ditch. You've engaged that fire team again, wounding 1 guy. Okay, so that's where we are. End of turn 2. Right, so this is the start of turn 3. We'll not go over. We'll give a rundown of where we're at the end of turn 2, so we know what's going on here. So we're now back to rolling for initiative. There's none of the units, there's no units on the table pinned, so it's basically a straight D6 roll. 3.
5.
So you've got initiative.
Right.
So, what you're going to do now,
we do a rally phase. Now the rally phase is you can unpin units. Now because you haven't got any unpinned units, you don't have to do that. So we now go on to your casualty phase.
Great.
So this is where we do the stabilisation rules.
Yeah.
So that's covered by I think it's chapter 6, which is what we're on. So during the casualty phase, the player must take a stabilisation roll for each wounded figure in the force. This is to determine if the other members of the unit are able to keep the wounded soldier stabilised. If the roll has failed, casualties progress will worsen. So you've got, am I right in thinking you've got 1 on T1?
No, I've got 1 on T1 and 3 on T2.
Right. So you'd need to do the 1 on T1 first. So roll 1d6. You're looking for 4 or more, otherwise he's going to die.
6.
Right. Right. So
No, so that he's still what he is, but he survived. So you then want 3 dice rolls,
Yeah.
3 dice, and the others are a T2.
Yeah.
so there you're looking for a 3 or more.
Yes.
Bloody hell.
3,
Right,
5,
so
6.
you've stabilised all of them, so they stay at the same level.
Right.
Okay? Right, so that's the casualty phase finished. We then go on to the activation phase. And 3, D6 plus 3 yours is. Now then, do you think we should include... oh, that's B fire team, isn't it? That's the wounded, so it's okay. So you want a D6 plus 3. These are for your activation points.
Yeah. 1.
So you've got 4 activation points. So remember, you could activate them,
Yeah.
and you could fire at those twice.
Mhm.
And that's only so you've only got effectively there. You've got, if you're not subdividing them into, so you could do 1, 2, 3.
3,
So you're fine.
Yeah.
But
so,
I would you want to try and get shot of them. I
yeah.
would.
So
Not that I'm telling you what to do. It's obviously up to you.
I'll activate the HQ team first.
Right.
I know they've got a medic.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're in like distance to help, or would they have to move
Yeah,
up?
but they'd have to move up,
Yeah.
and then in the next casualty phase, you get a bonus because the medic's
Right.
shooting them.
Right. So I'll do that. So I'll use 1, 2, move up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try. So I still need to move.
So you need a D6.
And we're going to half it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2.
So that's a 1. So you can move 4 inches. So you can move up to there, and if you wanted to,
Yeah.
you could open fire on them with your next activation. You're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Right. So you don't have to. So the command team are obviously up there effectively. They're
Yeah.
engaging them
Yeah.
on the roof who fired. Right. So get this right in my head again, so we know what we're doing. We're the assault rifle. Looking at the armory, and that's 1, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
So you want 5 dice. So get yourself 5 dice, and you're doing individual fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So modifiers, target move twice last turn, no. You're not within 6 inches, are you? No.
No.
So basically what you're looking at is you're looking 4s or more, 5's a clean hit.
6 is a clean hit, so you want 6 separately. Right, so that's quite good, Alex.
4, 5, and 6.
Right.
So 4, 5 and 6. So what that means, on the injury chart, because it's a clean hit, you get a +1.
So your 6 rolls separately. So roll that now, and you're going to add a 1 to it.
4.
4. So that's a wound. So keep that on a 4.
Yeah.
Leave that on. Put that on a 4 there,
Yeah.
so we know what it is. Roll the other 2.
3 and a 1.
Right. 3 and a 1 are both misses.
Right.
So you've so far got 1 hit.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm in reinforced, because it's the compound wall,
Yeah.
I save it on a 3 or more.
Yeah.
So I've saved it.
Okay.
So prime. Right. So that's those guys activated.
That's the
HQ's activated.
Yeah. I'll activate this one next.
Mhm.
As a section.
Yeah.
And they're all gonna fire on there.
So your first action, the first order is going to fire, and then you could, if you wanted to, fire again. But you can see what happens.
No,
Right.
I'm gonna fire. I'm gonna move up.
Right.
I'm gonna move
Okay.
up.
So working that out, you've got 6 and you've got 12 dice you want. Got them all there.
Yeah.
So again, you're looking at roll the dice. You get 1 to 3's a miss, so you want to get rid of any 1, 2, or 3 that you roll. Right, that's quite good, Alex.
I've got 1, 6,
Right.
which is a clean hit.
So keep that a clean hit. So roll your, get them out there. So
Yeah.
roll your clean hit now.
4.
So that's 5. So if you change that to a 5
Yeah.
and put that over there,
Yeah.
the others you're going to pick all them up and you want to roll them 1, 2. So 1, 2s and 3s get rid of. Right. So you've got 1, 6.
You need to save them, don't you?
Right, so, yeah, no, hang on. We've done that slightly wrong. So you've rolled a 5 there. So that's a KIA, so keep that there. I'm looking at the wrong chart.
Mhm.
Keep that there.
Mhm.
And you've rolled them.
Yeah.
Right, so these are on the injuries.
Yeah.
Right, actually, Alex, we've done that wrong, I think. I'll tell you what, we'll do that at the start again.
Right. So
I think
let's
we've done it wrong.
start again.
Right, so you want 12 dice. Right, so roll them and get rid of the 1 to 3's, because they're misses. Right, that's a load worse.
2 hits.
2 hits, right. So roll those 2 hits.
To see if
Roll,
yeah.
This is on the injury.
Yeah.
5 or 6 is a kill.
4 and a 3.
4 and a 3, so that's basically 2 wounds. So what I do now, should have kept the other one, shouldn't I?
should
Done
have
really
done.
well, never mind. So I've saved both of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're going to move
It
on.
seems very difficult to hit them on their compounds, isn't it? Never mind, okay. So you can get them to the end there, but they're still in cover.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. That's them done.
Right. So they've been activated.
Yeah.
So you've activated the command, you've activated them, so you've got that fire team
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So they could shoot them in theory if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
Right. So they can fire twice if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're probably
Try
not
and-
going to move.
try and
Right,
get
so
them
you're
out.
looking there, you're looking at 3, you're looking at 6 dice. So you want 6 dice,
2, 6.
right? So you're rolling, what you're looking, you're
Get-
not within, it's not within 6 inches.
No.
So there's no modifications. So you roll your 6 dice, get rid of 1 to 3. So 4, 5 and 6s
Yeah.
are hits.
Oh,
Right, so
2,
you've got
6.
4 hits. No, this isn't. Yes, they're clean hits. Yeah.
Right.
So that's right. So if you move, get them right. So roll your clean hits because you're adding +1 to
Yeah.
them. Right.
6 and a 3. So
Right.
7.
So it's a 4 and a 7.
Yeah.
So you got 1 wounded, 1 KIA. So just turn that, keep that on 4. Put that 6 there. No, you don't need to do it as a 7. Right. Roll those 2 there.
5 and a 2.
So 2 is a wound, and 5 is a kill. So put those there. So you've got 2 kills, 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got to roll 4 dice, and I've got to save them all. The save on a 3 or more.
Yeah.
So I've saved 2.
Yeah.
Should have rolled the different dice again, shouldn't I? Because we don't know which ones.
Fine.
Right. Right. We'll just say that's 2 kills, Alex. I'm not. We'll
Right,
know from. Right. So there's 2 more killed. So if those 2 are killed,
Yeah.
right? So that's right. So effectively, that unit's, well, it's not operational because he's wounded. So it's only when they're wiped out. That would, I'll just check the thing. Firepower is not reduced by individual wounded figures, only KIA, or if the entire unit is wounded. Right, so that basically can't do anything. The only roll on the unacceptable casualty chart when an entire unit is destroyed, not for each KIA, but must roll once without any modifiers for each unit within 10 inches. Right, so you've shot again. You could shoot at them, or you could switch fire and shoot at those.
And you spot them first, because I haven't.
There isn't a spot
No,
thing in
right,
this, Alex.
right.
This is where
Okay.
they're up above the thing. There's rolls.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're harder to hit. So basically, what it says is, in order for a unit to fire at an enemy unit, it must have referred to as line of sight. The first is clear line of sight. This means that when it's looking at the tabletop level from the figures, they can see the target without the target obscured or hidden. They're not hidden. The second is obscured. This means that 50% or more of the enemy unit cannot be seen. So that would mean if like you had a unit of 8 and 4 of them were behind the wall.
Yeah.
So you can certainly engage them if you wanted to.
Right. Well.
So you're going to.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
You're going to shoot at these.
Yeah.
This is the command team, right? So it's basically exactly the same. They're getting obviously the high save because of the thing. So you want 6 dice.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it correctly here with any kills on.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, and 3 get rid of.
2 6s.
Right. But that's so you've got 2 clean hits.
Yeah.
So roll those 2 again, adding 1 to them.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Right.
7 and a 5.
So that's 2 kills. Right. So I've got to save them. I've got to roll 3 or more.
Mhm.
I've saved 1. The other guy's dead. So he's dead. Right, so that's your second turn. So they're activated, yeah?
Yeah. So they've all been activated now.
Right. So it comes on to my turn. So I've got to do a rally phase. I haven't got any pin troops. Casualty phase, right. So at the minute I've only got 1 guy who's wounded. Okay?
Mhm.
So stabilization roll is a fail. So he has effectively died then, isn't he? He's a KIA. Right, so he's now dead, AQ6, so I'll move that.
Yeah.
So that unit's been wiped out, okay? Untrained forces don't have the training and equipment to handle battlefield casualties as regular forces do. The only roll on the unacceptable casualties chart when an entire unit is destroyed, not for each KIA, but must roll once without any modifiers for each unit within 10 inches of the destroyed unit. Right. He's definitely within 10 inches, right, but none of the others are. Right, so, all right, there we go. The unit's confidence is broken. 1 NCO from the total number in the force, minus 1 NCO from the total number in the force, right. So that means they're rolling no, they don't get anything. The unit is permanently pinned until recovered by a vehicle. Untrained units immediately move twice away from the fighting. They must continue to do so until off the table. So basically, he's gone.
Yeah.
So that's completely rare. So he's over the fills. He's had enough of the whole fighting malarkey. Right. Activation to roll me activation points. We're going to be looking at
a D6, and that's all I've got, isn't it? Yeah. Because I don't get anything for the 6. Right. So they're all thingied. Right. See what happens. Right. So I'm going to. The command was there. So we'll just say that it takes double the points. So I could activate 3 units. Right, the first one I'll activate is that RPK team there. So I'll activate them. And they're obviously off Overwatch. They'll engage these guys here. So I think that's classed as a RPK light support weapon 2. So I'm rolling 3 dice. So I'm rolling 3 dice. Right, Continental Racer runs a hit shot, 2 scores hits and clean hits. Right, so it's D6s, isn't it? And then I go to D8s. It's a bit strange that shooting. No, I'll be using D8s. So I might have been doing it slightly wrong. So what I should have been doing, this is my fault, Alex. I should have been, yeah, for the individual fire orders, so I should have been using D8s. So that's maybe why I've caused all those casualties. You live and learn. Right, so D8s, I've got 3 D8s.
Yeah.
Right, modifiers listed below. Untrained unit firing only has wounded figures left alive. No. Obscured target. No. Shooting at point blank. No. So on the D8s, 1 to 5 is a miss. So 2 7s. So that's a hit basically. 2 hits. Okay. Now what I then do is go onto the injury chart, but they're D6s. And then you're going to roll to save. So that's 2 wounds. And you're rolling on, you'll save on a 4 or more. So you've saved 1, so you've got 1 wound. Did we think it with body armour, did we? I can't remember if we looked at that or not.
We did, but I forgot it's +1 to something. I think it's +1
right,
to something.
Yeah, so you've put a -1, so it's a -1. So what did you roll? What did I roll?
You rolled
Off the casualty chart. Right, so effectively that fire team there's got 1 wound.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what you've got to do is roll on the casualty chart, but because you've got body armour, you're going to get a -1, aren't you? So if you roll 1d6 and take 1 off.
Yeah.
3. So that's a T2, which is a severe wound. So
and then it's the closest guy to the firing.
yeah, so
So
that's
it was
over
them.
here. So it's going to be
It'll be him.
him. 1A1. Right. So that's those guys. That's the first one. We'll shoot again
Yeah.
for the second order. So that's 3 misses. So now it's happened and they're activated. Can you shove an activation count on?
There's already one on.
There's one
yeah.
already on. So they're done.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to activate these. They're going to cross that obstacle. 5, so that's 3, so they move 2 inches. And then they're going to move another 5 to try and get that way. So they're going to move to there. It's going to move to there, so they'll be in a line like that. Right, and they're activated. And then I'll activate these guys here.
and they're going to engage that same fire team.
Yeah.
So they're going to shoot that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got 4 D8s. That's good. 4 misses. Fire again. And another 4 misses.
Yeah.
Right, they're super good. Right, so they're activated.
Yeah.
And that's me done.
Yeah.
Right. So, end of turn 3. So what we've got, Alex has managed to stabilise. He passed all the stabilisation rules, so those 4 guys are wounded. His corporal in this section's been wounded when he was engaged by the RPK team. These guys moved up, effectively destroyed that unit, which caused the command element to rout. Now, I'm not sure whether that would have any effect on the thing. Well, maybe he's have to ask Carl about that. I'm not sure. I can't recall reading anything about it in the rules, but I may be wrong. This team's activated. They're trying to get a little bit closer. They're moving towards that cover. And that's where we are. So at the moment, we've got the British have got 5 wounded guys, although they have at the minute, they're all stabilised. The Taliban have had 5 killed, and the commanders ran off. So that's where we are. End of turn 3. Right, so this is the start of turn 4. So, confession time for me. What we should have been doing is I should have been rolling on the fire, and the fire into hit rolls. I should have been rolling D8s, and I'm pretty sure I was rolling D6s, which I think why Alex got all those casualties. So that's probably affected the game a little bit. Never mind. It's all about learning how the rule systems work, and you only do that by making mistakes and playing games. So we've got that. I've swapped my D6s for D8s in front of us, so that hopefully shouldn't happen again. So this is the start of turn 4. So the third, we're going to roll for initiative again. No pinned units. I'm not sure, which I'll have to check with check on the Facebook page. Effectively, 2 of my units have gone, including the commander. So I'm not sure whether that would give us some negative off the either the initiative rule or alternatively the actions rule. So we'll do a D6 roll for initiative first off. I've scored a great 1.
4.
So you've got initiative, Alex. So you'll be going. You'll be activating first.
Yeah.
So what we'll do straight away is you're going to do a rally phase. You haven't got any pinned units, so that it doesn't. That effectively doesn't apply. So we'll then go on to the casualty phase, and this is the phase where you're basically you're going to see what's you've got to roll a d6 for each of your wounded figures. So this is your stabilisation thing. Okay. Now medics. So you get a +1. I'm going to have to wing this. I haven't read the rules in depth, so basically it's a +1 to the stabilisation roll of a single casualty. So what you're going to try and do is you're going to treat the worst one, which is the T. You've got a T3, haven't you? No, a T1, which is the critical wound.
Yeah.
So for that one, you roll that now. You need to roll a 3 or more. Otherwise, he's going to die.
3.
Right, so for the other 3, so get 3 dice.
Yeah.
So they're, what are they? They're T2s,
Yeah,
aren't
tier
they?
2s, yeah.
So your stabilisation rolls is 3 or more.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
fine.
done it again,
2, 4,
stabilised all
6.
them. And what's the guy, the corporal guy, what's he?
T2 again.
He's a T2. So you're looking for 3 or more again.
4.
Right.
My
there's
God.
nails, those guys, aren't they? Right. So you've stabilised all them.
Yeah.
So what we'll go on to now is your action points. So you want D6 plus 3.
Yeah. 2.
So that's 5.
5.
So you have 5 activations.
Yeah.
So basically you can do whatever you want. So
Right.
what we've got, these guys effectively are in the open.
Yeah.
They've opened fire, those
Yeah.
guys there, and they've opened fire.
PKM, yeah.
So you're going to decide who you're going to activate first.
Well, where I'm at now, I'm thinking I need to get those guys who are injured into that compound for a bit of cover, so they're not
Right.
going to get shot up.
Mhm.
So I would like to move them somehow into the compound.
Right, so what you're doing, moving with casualties.
Yeah.
Just have a look at 1 second. A unit with 1 or more casualties will only be able to move at half speed. If more than half of a unit becomes casualties, then the unit cannot move. Right, so that unit, moving other units' casualties. Right, so you could use that fire team there
Yeah.
to move those. You're only moving at half the movement.
Right.
That's the issue. The things to be aware of, you've obviously got
Yeah.
these guys, these guys, these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in the open.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
so whether you decide to engage them with them or whether you and use that fire team and the command element to extract them that way, you could do that.
Yeah, so that's what they're going to do. So I think first off, I'm going to activate this one here in the ditch, and they're going to open fire first on the guys in the open.
Right.
There. And they're going to obviously do individual fire, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're looking for 12 dice.
Now that unit moved twice the last turn, so it's a -1
Yeah.
off your dice. So you want your D6s.
Yeah.
You want 12. If you roll them, and then basically 1 to 4,
Yeah.
yes,
Is a miss.
is a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the easiest way is 5 and 6s on
Yeah.
hits.
Oh, Jesus. That is a very good roll. That is a very, very good roll. 3 6s
That's a cracking
4
roll,
5s.
Alex. Right.
Right.
Right. So you have got. You're now going to roll on the casualty chart.
Yeah.
So you need to roll all of those again.
What about the 3?
The 3, you've got 3 clean hits, haven't you?
Yeah, 3 clean hits.
So if you roll them first
Yeah.
and add 1 to them,
Yeah.
so that's 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Right, so 3, 4, and 5, yeah?
Yeah.
So you've got 2 wounds, 1 kill. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's a kill, and those are your wounds.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So with those ones, you just need to roll them on here, and then we'll
Yeah.
separate them.
Yeah.
So those are the wounded ones. 1 to 4 is a wound.
So I've got 3
So
more
another
wounds.
3 more wounds. So that's 5 wounds, 2 kills.
Yeah.
Right. What I've got to do now, because they're in the open, they only save on a 6 or more.
Yeah.
So these are for your two kills.
Yeah.
So I haven't saved either of them.
Yeah.
And then 5 wounds. I've saved 1, so get rid of 1 of your wounds.
Yeah.
So what's happened now? So they've engaged from there.
Yeah.
So the way you do it is dead, dead. That's what they're wiped out, Alex, because they're going to get wounded twice.
Yeah. Yep, so they're all dead.
So they're all dead, which I suppose is fairly because they've run across the open,
Yeah.
been caught in the open.
Yeah.
And he's outside 10. They're not though. So that team there has got to roll on the thingy table. Get that the unit is permanently pinned and will recover. Right, untrained units immediately move twice away from the fighting. until they're off the table. Now that's the compound, they're going to go that way.
Yeah.
So they're going to move 10 inches that way. Right. So this now looks... right, okay. So all you've done, that was the first round of firing.
Yeah.
So second action,
They're going to try and probably move in the compound, do you think?
that would move into, you only move 5 inches, and you've got to remember there's these guys dotted around.
Yeah. Get me to there.
You're going to be in the open.
I'll still be in the open.
Oh, you'd be, yeah. You're going to have to do that with 2 movements, I think, Alex. I wouldn't be coming out there because you're
No.
going to be in line of sight of those guys up here.
Yeah.
So they're going to go like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
In the open fire.
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't have them. So is there any? There's no one else you can fire, shoot at from that position.
I've got.
You've got 1 movement.
Yeah.
No, you can't really.
No.
You'd only get 1
No.
guy shooting
No.
at them.
Yeah. So I'm happy to say that one's done
Right.
because I can't
Yeah.
do anything else. So
So you want a thingy marker on there.
activation mark on him. Okay.
Now what you could do, I'm wondering, with those,
Yeah.
you could move them back into the field so that they can't be getting engaged. So
Yeah.
to stabilise them, you can move them back into cover so they
Yeah.
couldn't effectively
See them,
see them.
and then they wouldn't be able to.
I mean, I'm just thinking, in that scenario,
Yeah.
I've lost all of those troops. I just think they may well bug out, because you've got like effectively all those troops there.
Yeah.
That's open,
Yeah.
and
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to activate the HQ team, and I'm going to.
well, you could, in theory, move those back. Okay,
Mhm.
if you move them back, you'd get 2 activations. So no matter what you rolled for, you're definitely going to be in the middle of the thing. So you're in cover. Or you could go out into this side. You can move to this side in preparation for going like that.
So is that with the HQ? I would have to activate the HQ.
Well, you can activate
team as
the HQ, and
So-
they would be able to move all of those. So if you wanted to, you can move them over to here on the
Yeah.
edge of this thing,
Yeah.
so they're out of sight. There's no one can engage them.
So in theory, my first activation, can that be to fire on these guys, then I can move them? Or would
Yeah.
the cost to move be 2?
No, you could certainly engage. You could certainly shoot at them, or those ones there nearer, so you'd probably engage
Yeah.
them, wouldn't you? They've both fired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose it's up to you, because you've got those as well, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So you could fire with one and then move back. And effectively, then my troops can't do anything.
Because with that other fire team, that's got the injured one,
Uh-huh.
I've got to activate them before the HQ,
Mm-hmm.
fire on them with them, then activate the HQ, fire on there,
Yeah,
then move, couldn't I?
yeah. So you're
So-
going to do that. So
so
you
do
activate
that.
that fire team first.
Yeah.
Now, because he's there isn't anything in just me thinking aloud for the.
Yeah.
When a unit takes casualties, it will not only impact the unit's movement, but also its ability to provide effective fire.
Yeah.
Any T1, T3 casualties each reduce the unit's firepower by 2 for each casualty.
Right.
So he's going to reduce it by 2. So you'd
Yeah.
count him up
Yeah.
and then reduce it by 2.
Yeah.
So that fire team there, you're on 6. So it's basically that's got a 4. So you want
2.
4 D6s.
4.
And
Yeah.
they're engaging these guys here.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
One.
So one's obviously a miss. So you're looking at 4, 5s and 6s are hits.
Got
Yeah.
3 hits, 4, 5,
Right.
and 6.
So 6 is your clean hit. So if
Yeah.
you roll that and then add 1 to it.
6,
Right.
7.
So that's definitely a kill. So put that. Leave it in the
Yeah,
tray and put it
yeah,
on
yeah.
one side. So roll those other 2.
2 2s.
So that's 2 wounds, right. Now, there you're shooting at those, they're in the compound, so basically I need 3 or more. So this is for the kill,
Yeah,
3 or more. So that's saved it.
yeah,
And then I've got 2 for the wounds. Saved 1, so one of those guys is wounded.
yeah.
So it'll be that guy, the nearest guy on the end there, so he's wounded.
Which one, him?
Yeah.
I'll get a wound marker.
And then what they're going to do is move back in, aren't they? Move out of the way.
With the HQ team.
No,
Oh,
these
them,
guys.
yes.
Because you've got to finish
Yes.
activating them
Yes.
first, you see.
Yes, so they're going to move back and they're going to carry their injured
Right,
guy.
right. So so that's fine. If you're doing they're going to be out of sight, Alex, anyway. So
So just a 5. Oh.
right. So they'd move. Yeah. So they'd move back into there, but they're definitely out of line of sight from
Right.
there. So just move them back a little bit. Just move them like that, so we don't get them muddled up. Right, so they're effectively in the middle of the thing and
Yeah.
they're out of sight. Right,
Yeah,
and they're activated.
yeah,
Right. So you're then going to activate your command team.
yeah.
Right, and they're going to engage
They're going to engage
these guys
those
here.
2 guys there.
Right, okay. So what they're looking at is, there's 5 of them, so you want 5 dice. Right, and you
Yeah.
roll them, and get rid of you're looking for 4, 5s or 6s.
2 hits.
Right,
1 6.
one's a 6. So if you roll your 6 and add 1 to it,
6
right, so
7.
that's definitely a kill. Then roll that as well.
2.
So that's a wound. So if you look right, now they are just behind that little wall.
Yeah,
So they'll save on a 4 or more.
yeah,
So I'll try and save the kill first on a 4 or more. Saved that. The wound. Right, so there's another guy wounded, so there's a wound marker.
yeah.
So that'll be that guy there. So he's wounded. Right, so they're then going to, we'll just say that they're doing that, Alex,
Yeah,
rather than trying
yeah,
to move them
yeah.
all. So they're going to extract them, so
Yeah,
they're out
in
of
the
line
middle.
of sight
Yeah.
now. Right, so that's you done, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me done, yeah.
Right, so what I'm doing is the rally phase, there isn't casualty phase. So he's now dead, because he's
Yeah.
failed the thingy roll. That's AQ7. And the guy on the roof, 2, he's dead as well. So he's dead as well. Alex, I think what would
You
happen
wanna
in
call
reality now is they'd withdraw. They're not. I mean, you've got 1. So effectively, out of those troops I had, we're going to call it there, I think. That fire team effectively was destroyed. This one broke, and the commander legged it off table. These guys foolishly moved into the open to try and get the cover. This section engaged them, causing massive casualties, destroyed that unit. As a result of that, those guys had to do an unacceptable casualty check. They failed that, so they broke. They've gone that way. When you activate this turn, you've killed 1 guy in that little 2 at the RPK team, and then you've killed another thing there. And I think what would happen there is they'd withdraw. So that's where we are. Good game, Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Right. So. Good game. Yes, good game. We wrote a Damascus moment really was about halfway through the game. I realised that, well, I was pretty sure I'd been rolling D6s instead of D8s for the Taliban. That means that probably the initial casualties that Alex received, he probably wouldn't have received anywhere near as many. But that's, I think with systems, when you're new to them, that's what playing's all about. You can read the rules as much as you like, but until you start actually playing them and moving figures on the table, you don't see how the systems work, basically. So Alex, overall, what did you think?
Overall, new system was really good. obviously got bogged down in the field, but overall it was a good. Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Like you've said, it takes a while to learn the rules, and when you actually start playing it, it does help that once you, I think after a good few games of this rule system, it'll be a bit different.
Yeah. So we quite liked the activation system. So if you used any of your officers or NCOs to unpin units at the beginning, the rally phase comes up first. They don't take part, you lose them for doing your activation points. So that's a bit of a judgment call. Having said that, we didn't actually have any.
No.
I think a lot of the time the temptations to use individual fire. So I don't think we had a scenario where we didn't where we used the section fire to pin them. I mean that probably works quite. That's probably quite a good technique, because especially if you're going first or second, or depending on how it works out, it can be a scenario where you can't actually do anything. And the activation system worked well. The movements all covered. I thought the casualty system was quite interesting, particularly in relation to coalition forces, where you do a roll to see what level the casualties are at, and then you do sort of a roll every turn during the casualty phase to see if you can stabilise them. You get bonuses if you use a medic.
With the medic involved, yeah.
You also, if you set up a casualty collection point, which you do as a separate order, you get an additional additions to the roll, so you've got a higher chance of stabilising them. And then if you get them to sort of like a compound where you've got like a first field station, so like a patrol base, it increases that again. I thought that was really quite good,
especially in big games like big games. If we do that, having that, I think that'll help.
Yeah, it gives it that makes it a bit more personal, I suppose, for the coalition. The opposition, the Taliban, don't basically do that because they're untrained, so they're either wounded or they're killed, and they just have a saving roll of 4+. So you've got to roll 4, 5, or 6 the casualty phase to see if you stabilise them. If you don't stabilise them, they're dead. From what I've read, I've no doubt Carl will pick up if or Martin, one of the other teams, if I've got it incorrectly. What we were doing, so if in the unit, because they're untrained, because they're untrained, the firepower isn't reduced by individual wounded figures, only KIAs, or if the entire unit's wounded rather. And then you do a thing on the unacceptable casualties rule. If the unit's destroyed and any other unit within 10 inches rules, then there's various modifiers. What I didn't pick up on is when we did at the end of the game, when I sort of called it, and in that scenario, I'm quite happy that they would have withdrawn.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we didn't read them, but there didn't appear to be any rules, sort of, what would be the term? Unit morale rules. So if a unit got a number of casualties, they would perhaps have to do a morale check and withdraw. That may be built in the rules, and that might be me being a little bit dense, not picking up on it. So there was that point. But overall, I think that the way it works, in particular, the detail revolving around casualties, I think is excellent. We obviously didn't try any of the support rules, so artillery or air power. That's obviously going to be for a future game. We just really wanted to keep it simple. The main thing that I've learned from it is obviously, I don't know how, but I'd completely for the TQ rule, which is a firing rule, because we would actually been rolling D8s, and I'm pretty sure in the first couple of turns I was rolling D6s, which obviously massively, all right, okay. Massively increases the and the casualties. So to cut to the chase, at the end, when we called it,
so this is a Taliban one. So, you can
so the Taliban had quite a lot of casualties. I think in 6 or 7 KIA, one wounded, I think, who turned into a KIA. And then obviously we had a couple of teams. The command team thought discretion was the better part of valour, and they nicked off quite early on.
Well, one did. One did, was a killed one.
And then the RPG team didn't like what happened to that unit that you hit in the open, and they withdrew as well. And you were in a position where you were in cover in the field, and you would have certainly been able to extract the compound, which is why we called it. I didn't think there was much point in just, I couldn't have done anything to prevent you doing that, so I didn't think there was much point in. But I think it definitely warrants using the systems for the pickup games or the scenarios. So there's the victory point things. I think that's the morale system, the unit morale system. Some Eisen's built into that with the victory points, and it'll be nice to see how that plays out. But overall, I thought it worked well. Carl, when you watch this, and Martin, if we've done anything wrong, just obviously shout up or message us. Yeah. I'm sure we will have. Certainly from the other system we use, when you play it a lot, you get more and more used to it. And certainly with this, I think it'll take a few games to sort of find out what you're doing. But I think that applies to all rules, really, doesn't it? But certainly the flavour that comes through is there's been a lot of thought and effort gone into it. Really like the casualty systems with the casualty collection points, and I thought that's excellent. And it becomes quite personal when you're rolling and trying to stabilise. You did some really good rules in the stabilisation, didn't you? And you didn't lose any. So from your point of view, I think you had...
From my point of view, I've got... so one section got hit, so one...
That fire team.
Bravo fire team got hit most. 1 tier 1 and 3 tier 2s.
So I think that was when I was rolling the D6s, so I think that probably would have been slightly different. Then the other fire
team, Alpha 1E1, which is a corporal. Did you say?
He was the NCO. He got hit. He was a T2.
He was a tier 2. But I think with those on my dice roll, that I didn't get a kill from that was pretty.
Yeah, so you've just basically had wounded figures, and you've caused a lot of damage to the local $10 Taliban, haven't you? Yeah, right.
Which is always good.
Right, so there we are. As normal, any queries, drop them in the comments. In the first video I've put a link to the how to get the rules. You get them off Wargames Vault. Straightforward. I would say as an overall, if you're gaming, if you're interested in doing modern warfare, certainly with this and the Afghan supplement, if you're gaming Afghanistan, you need to get a copy of the rules. I think it's we're a bit of a rules whore, really, and we'll buy anything, but these are definitely worth, for the money, they're definitely worth it. I know that it's in the pipeline to do a print on demand thing. I know some people aren't keen on PDFs. Having said that, as I mentioned in the other one, I just buy the Tiger binders off Amazon, which I think were £3 or £4, and you can just put it in. It works really well.
Yeah, it does.
So that's basically it. Anything else? No.
Nothing really. I've so prior to this video, I've put up a first how to paint video. It was basically a test video
to see how we film it,
how it goes, how to film. So if you haven't seen that, please take a look at that. Give us some advice as well. What could have
and that stuff. What was that? What did you paint? Oh, that was for the Huey, wasn't it?
So it was for the
stuff you've painted.
Some stuff that I figures in mind. Try and film the when you do the British Arnhem figures. That was in mind you were on about.
Yeah, and I will the tutorial for the loads of people have been asking us for the temperate DPM. We'll definitely get that sorted as a matter of urgency.
obviously I want to make sure that it's good quality and it's
Yeah, so you've
as
got
well.
to, it's
So I
again,
wanted
it's
to-
checking to see
I
if it
wanted to
works.
check,
Isn't it? Right.
checking how to do
Okay.
it. But apart from that, York as well, after York. So
Yeah, that's a week tomorrow, isn't it?
week tomorrow, yeah.
So, and we'll try our best to avoid buying anything, won't we?
Well, that's never going to happen, is
No.
it?
No. Right, so if anyone's at York and sees, we'll obviously
Yeah. give a
stop and
shout.
have a shout. It's always good to know that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you folks on the next video, yeah?
See you next time.
Take care.